So as we jump into this episode 2, you're in for a real treat. Kerry Muhlestein is one of our world's experts on the Book of Abraham, and you've studied this for many years,
from
decades. Every angle, and there's nothing that you've heard or read on the internet that's caused people concern that Kerry would say, "Oh, I didn't know about that. I was not aware of that question or that concern." So this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for you to get kind of an overview of the whole book of Abraham. Where did we get it? What is the history of the book, and how did it come to be? And then some of the questions that surround maybe its provenance, its Genesis. Where did we get it, and what does it entail for us? As well as then, what are some of the unique and beautiful cosmic doctrines that are added to our scriptural canon through the Book of Abraham? So, Kerry, let's jump in. Book of Abraham, where did it come from?
So, it comes from Abraham. There are a lot of things we don't know, and that's one of the things you're going to find, is there are a lot of things we don't know and a lot of things we do know, which is true of the Bible as well. We just don't talk about that as much with the Bible. There are a lot of things we don't know exactly how we got this and so on. We just have a later copy of it, right? That's what we have with the Book of Abraham. We know Abraham writes the original. I don't know when. I don't know what on. Is he writing this on papyrus, parchment, clay tablets? I don't know what he writes it on. But he writes it, and we don't know how it's transmitted over time. We know that any ancient document, it's not going to last that long. And so any ancient document we have now, it's very, very rare that we have the original. And we don't have the original for any scriptural books. We have a copy of a copy of a copy. And that's true of most ancient stories or anything along those lines. We have the copy of the copy of the copy. So I don't know who does the copying. I don't know when the copying happens. I don't know when or how it comes into Egypt. Abraham was in Egypt for a while, but I suspect that at least part of this book he writes after he's come back out of Egypt, probably most of it or maybe all of it. He has descendants that go to Egypt, right? His great-grandson Joseph goes, and then the whole family goes down there. They're there for a long time. Is that when the writings come and they stay there? I don't know. We get the kingdom of Israel and Judah being established, and they have people going back and forth to Egypt. In fact, when the Jerusalem is destroyed in Jeremiah's day, Jeremiah is taken to Egypt. There's a big group of Jews that go down. Jeremiah dies in Egypt, and there's a group of Jews there from that time forward, and we get more and more and more of them, so that you get a really significant Jewish population in Egypt really from the time of the Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem. And it just gets larger and larger. And there are all sorts of parts of Egypt. You get 2 temples being built in Egypt, Jewish temples, right? Temples to Jehovah. So somewhere along there, you've got someone who brings writings of Abraham in there. And I don't know when or how.
Which, by the way, is very helpful to understand, because some of the attacks against the Book of Abraham say, well, Abraham could never have written these papyri because they don't date far enough back to hit Abraham's time.
Yeah, which is silly. I mean, so just to give you an example, that we can date the papyri that Joseph Smith ended up with to about 200 BC. All right, Abraham lives about 2000 BC, so that's a bit of a gap, right? But just as an example, the earliest copy of the book of Isaiah we have is also from 200 BC. Isaiah lived about 700 BC. 700, 750 is that range there for him. So, I mean, they're both removed, right? That's just standard. That's how it works. And when no one says, well, this isn't Isaiah's writings because this date's too late, it's a copy of a copy of a copy. So that's how it is. He says written by his own hand. The text was written by his own hand. And if you're a scribe, that's what you write down. And you copy that again and again. Not the manuscript that you're creating is written by his own hand, but the original text is written by Abraham's hand.
That's very helpful.